cut the down part. Now the length of my client dress is 40 inches, so I remove the upper part that is 16 inches. So what is left is about 24 or 26, right? So I went ahead to put the what is left is 24. Then I added 2 inches of allowance. That is what we use and fold. So I mark 26 inches, and then that is why I am marking this line to serve as a starting point. So from that point now down to the length of the fabric, it is 26 inches. But for us to understand it very well, I'll go ahead to demarcate it by marking 24 inches first. Then the last line is going to serve as the allowance. So this one that I am marking is the main length of the dress. Then the rest is going to be for the allowance. Now measure from the hip, from the waist to hip. My client waist to hip is 9 inches. So I'll go ahead to mark it. This is our 9 inches. I'll mark it on the two sides so that I can connect them very well. So you go ahead to mark yours like so. After marking it, I'll take my straight rule and then I'll connect the line very well, right? Now this is a fabric, so we have to be very careful. If not, it will shake. That's why you see that I'm very careful, so that when you are doing your own, you know how to do it. Now after marking it, this is a waistline, hip line, and then the length. Now we are going to be imputing our measurement. So now for the waist, I did waist divide by 4 and then I put it. So we are supposed to add that of 1 inches before our 2 inches of allowance, though I didn't add it again, but while I was sewing, I sewed. That is why it's good to always add allowance to your clothes. So even after sewing it with the 2 inches without adding the allowance, the clothes is still okay, and there is still space of 1 inches around the waistline. You see ba? So on the hip, I put hip divided by 4 plus 2 inches of allowance, and then 2 extra inches to make it an exaggerated hip dress. So this is what we call the structured dress. So if you don't do this, it's just going to give you your normal hip measurement without any structure. Now anything we have on the hip side, I'll take it to the length of the dress and then I'll connect it together. I believe we understand this part. And then from that side, I'll connect to meet the waistline. I'll connect to meet the waistline. So watch what I do. So after connecting it, you discover that it is very curvy. What you have to do is to use your hand and then blend it very well so that it will look very, very real and then natural. It will not look too sharp, right? Then at the edge, at the top of the skirt, I went ahead to add ½ inch of allowance so that when we are joining it, it is not going to shorten our measurement, right? So you go ahead to add your ½ inch, and then next thing is for me to carry my scissors and then cut it out. So that is all for the front. I believe we can see it very well. Now for the back, I'll bring exact same piece like so, fold it and then place the front on it. We don't need much calculation here, so I just place the front. What I'm doing is at the center of the front, I am putting my zipper allowance at the back. So I'm using a 1.5 inches of zipper allowance. So watch carefully what I do. I'm putting my zipper allowance. So when you are doing yours, you go ahead to put your zipper allowance and trace the rest side, and that is all for the back. But watch what I do so that you understand it very well, right? Understand it very well. So now after marking the 1.5 inches from the down part around the waistline, I want to contour the hip. So I went in by ½ inch from the waistline, and then I'll connect it curvily to meet the hip. So by doing that, it's going to give your dress a curve effect at the back. I don't know if you are getting me. It's going to give you that snatch effect. Did you see the way I curve it? Yes. So even without measuring it, you can also go ahead and curve it like that, but make sure you are adding allowance, and at the end of the day, you see that your cloth is coming out very well because the back is not flat. That is why it's good to do all that, so that when you are done, your hip is going to be intact and your waist and everything is going to be well snatched. So after that, I'll just go ahead to cut it out. Now for the lining, I'll go ahead to cut the lining of the camera, and then I'll bring it. And then this is the paper that we are going to be using. This is gun stay. I'll go ahead to cut it on all the piece, then I'll bring it. So this is what we have. Now this is the front piece. This This is the front piece lining, this is the front piece gun stay. Can you see how it's looking like? So if you want to make yours, you can ask of gun stay. Some people use crinoline mesh, but I don't have crinoline mesh here, so this is what I usually use, and it still come out very fine. So that is all for the front. And then for the back, this is the back piece, the back lining, and then the back gun stay. So that is what I have for the back. Now let's proceed. Next thing now is for us to cut out the sleeve. See, I believe that if you are not a beginner, like if you are not just learning tailoring, like you are not just starting a month or 2 months again, after all this cutting, you should be able to what, sew them properly, because the down you just go ahead to what, turn it with your lining and iron your stay on it. The upper part you just turn it with the lining as well, and then you go ahead and join it with the sleeve. So for the sleeve, I went ahead to fold it like so. I make sure that I have them in Essex, right? I have them in Essex. So for us to know that we are starting, we have to roll a line to serve as our starting point. So from that line that I roll, I'm going to mark the length of the sleeve. So the length of the sleeve is 26 inches. I'll go ahead to add half inches so that I use it to turn it, because I'll be putting a lining to the sleeve, right? I'll be putting a lining to the sleeve. Now watch very well. So now after marking it, this is what I have. Now next thing is for us to mark out our sleeve. So for us to do that, you're going to mark from our shoulder to our elbow. So the elbow length of my customer, for my client, is what, 11 inches. So I went ahead to mark it. So your elbow is where your hand joint is that is folding. So I believe you can understand it very well. So you go ahead to mark it, and then from that shoulder I came down by 3 inches for the sleeves flap, so that I can go ahead to curve it very well. Now for us to know the measurement of the sleeve, you are going to measure your round armhole, and that is what you are going to be using. So my client's round armhole is about 9.5 inches. Then I mark that 9.5 inches, and then I trace it to meet this 3 inches line that I came out by, right? Yes. Then I'll go ahead to just connect it and form my sleeve curve. That is how I cut my sleeve. I believe we all understand this. So go ahead and do yours like that. And the next thing is, on that elbow joint, you measure the measurement, you measure it round, and then you put the measurement plus like 2 inches, because it's not going to be tight, but then it is not going to be free, just like how the edge of the sleeve is going to be free. So you just go ahead to connect it with the measurement, and then you connect it slantly, like instead of going straight, now you go slantly like this, so that it gives you that effect, it gives us that effect of the sleeve we are looking at. So I believe we all see the sleeve. I think a funnel sleeve. What is the name of the sleeve? Funnel. Some people call it funnel, some people call it trumpet sleeve. So I'm just going to go ahead to blend all the sharp edges so that it will come out very nice. And at the end of the day, I'll go ahead to cut it, and after cutting it, I'll also be cutting a lining for it, right? I'll be cutting a lining for it. You see that I added ½ inch on top of the sleeve so that it will not going to shorten our measurement. So this is our piece that we cut. I'll go ahead to place them and then cut. Now after cutting, this is what we have. I also cut the lining for each of the piece. Can you see the lining? Yeah, I cut out the lining for each of the piece. So I think I have to say this at this point. So actually I recorded this almost over 3 weeks now, but my phone went bad. I was not able to record the sewing parts, right? I was not able to record the sewing part, and my clients need it so bad, so I just have to finish the clothes like this. So at the end of the day, this is what we have. So now for you to know how to sew it, this is also a detailed tutorial that I made. This tutorial has been on my channel for over a year now, so I'll be putting the link on the description box so that you can go and watch it on how to do to sew it. Do you see the structure on the skirt? Do you see the upper part? Everything is almost same. The only difference is just that the sleeve, and then this one has a yoke. So I believe after watching this particular video, you should be able to cut and sew this particular dress. And if you have any question, please drop it so that I can answer you in the comment section. So bye, and see you in my next tutorial.